Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to your Cancer June 2022 reading and predictions. Hi, I'm Nigel Saint James, for those of you who are stopping by for the first time. And welcome, if that's the case, and to the subscribers. You know, I love to see you each month. Truly I do. I see you as part of my extended family. Much love and affection to you. Now, while I'm pulling the cards, some of you may be looking at this in the month of May, others in June. This reading for the cards is for June, as I say. But there's some interesting astrology, depending on when you have looked at this, has happened in May and is going to happen in June. And that's in general astrology. That's not what these cards are telling us about. But the general astrology is, first of all, that in May that Mercury has stationed direct in Gemini. And what has also happened is that Jupiter, which has been in Pisces for a couple of months, moves into Aries, the cardinal sign of fire. And that happens on the 13th of May. And then at the end of the month, 27th of May, Mars ingresses into Aries. So you have Jupiter and Mars then together going into conjunction with each other. Now, Venus is also in Aries for most of the month, so this means abundance and good fortune, you would think, from such a thing there. It's also the case that I'd say that you'll find that you might be looking at going it alone, and you could be taking on well, I won't say it's self-involvement, but certainly you'll be looking after your own interests. Then we get into June, and what's interesting in June is that there's the Three of Swords. There was a Mercury retrograde, but then Mercury then stations at the start of the month direct in Taurus, but Mercury is square Saturn. So although the retrograde is over, because Mercury is squaring Saturn in Taurus, fixed earth, plodding sign, then you might have what I call a sort of a retrograde hangover. Things may not get back to normal, because the astrologers will tell you that when there's a Mercury retrograde, things can go wrong and there could be delays. So things may not get going straight away once Mercury stations direct. However, Mars and Jupiter are still in Aries, and of course Venus is in there for most of the month. And so what you do have is, I think, an enthusiasm for activity or saying things which could have high risk associated with it, but you won't be able to be stopped, is what I see there from the general astrology. But then Mercury goes back into Gemini, which is great because it then goes, that's the King of Cups, it then goes sextile with Jupiter, and later it goes sextile with Mars. And as the astrologers tell you, sextile is a very, very good angle for a planet to have. The other one being the trine. The square's the problem one, and so's the opposition, as you know. And so anything that was delayed, I suppose, by that Mercury retrograde, or by what I call the hangover. I mentioned what that was, didn't I? That's the Ten of Wands, incidentally. Then it'll start moving for you in June. And this is what we're going to see, I think, in these cards for you together. And there is the Five of Cups. Well, why don't you come down now? We'll have a good close look at the images on these cards together while I do the reading for you. By the way, I should mention just before we start that if you would like to have a one-on-one clairvoyant reading with me, just check out the information below. Have a look at the website anyway. It's got a lot of free information which you may be interested in. Now, let's have a look at this major arcana of the moon. Now, the imagery in these cards, I'm going to spend some time on them because I think you're going to find that they are quite fascinating. Well, here, the moon illuminates the threshold on your path. It leads you to the brilliance of a new dawn. The grey towers that you can see here they are. They represent the threshold or gateway to spiritual enlightenment and wisdom. The cycles of the moon on the towers represent the cycles of nature and the cycles of your life. The left tower represents the waxing cycle. The right tower represents the waning cycle. Now, there are two wolves down here, white and black. They are the guardians of the threshold, as well as the guides that assist you through the dark, unknown path. They symbolize your natural animal instinct and mental thoughts when combined, expanding your intuition. They also represent the unconscious and the conscious self, as well as the light of the dark of the self, those dark aspects of yourself. Now, in Native American tradition, the wolf is the teacher and the guide to the sacred mountain where there is a great medicine lake in which all the world is reflected. Now, behind here we can see a forest. What can I make of that forest there? Well, I think that this is where your path begins, leading you to unknown territory. But the path comes out on a golden pyramid here. Good things in store, climbing to the very top where the medicine lake is, and where the moon reflects all wisdom and rebirth. Now look at this owl that's sitting on the top of this tower there. Do you see that? That represents wisdom and truth. And this crayfish is emerging from its watery world of the subconscious into the moonlight of illumination. He represents your primordial self, entering into the path of spiritual development. Now, the new moon that's behind this crayfish, you may just see a little sliver of silver that's there. This thing here is a new moon, and that's behind him, and it signifies the start of his journey. So there's something ahead of you, I think, now. And two ravens down here, as you see them, they are calling to your primordial self to wake up. The ravens give courage to enter the darkness, and they offer the promise of the healing it can bring. The raven is the bringer of magical transformative life. Now, the astrological aspect of the moon is Pisces, which is empathetic, receptive, compassionate, creative, and adaptive. Now, when the moon calls upon you to enter the darkness, feelings and emotions come out of nowhere. Trust your inner divine light. The moon reminds you to go forward without worrying about all the what-ifs. Do you know what I mean? Trust your authentic self and fight the monsters within. Light is always brighter than the darkness, and the moon's guiding light says, "Follow me, use your inner strength and focus, trust your intuition and instincts, and you will wake up on the other side of the threshold, liberated." Now, the moon can inspire you on your way to new ideas and paths at this time. Though it doesn't reveal the total situation to you, it teaches you to tap into your intuition and trust. It opens information and inherent memories through dreams, meditation perhaps, and for somebody here, visions. It reflects where you are on your cycle of life and how you feel about it. It reminds you that the cycles in life and your spiritual paths are always beginning and ending and rebirthing. The moon reminds you that you will pass through the threshold many times on many levels, and each time you do, you heal yourself, and your awareness becomes more expanded, and your wisdom becomes deeper. The moon reflects the sun, you reflect the divine. Now, what's on that horizontal line that's there? This is Yeah, the Three of Swords. Okay, now, why don't we have a look at this imagery and see what it has to tell you about what may be going on. Well, as I see it in this image, it's one of the three swords. The broken heart here has lightning bolts, which is about realization of personal truth, spiritual awakening and movement. Lightning bolts shooting through it. The swords, well, they point to the center, don't they, of the heart and the mind of the weeping woman, bringing clarity. Now, there are angels at her sides. Can you see these things here, these wispy white things? See, that's a head, that's a head. Now, of course, angels don't have human form. They are centers of consciousness in the spiritual, well, that aspect of reality which is spiritual. Now, they are at her side whispering, grow, grow, grow. You see, you forget in times of deep sorrow that you are never alone. The angelic forces and the divine are always with you, sending love and support, holding a space for your next stage of growth. Now, the clouds that are up here, they are clouds of emotions, and they rain teardrops of sadness. A teardrop, each one of these teardrops, so I'm looking here, they each have an inner glow, and the tears descend through the angelic realm. They become stars of new possibilities. The woman kneels in this violet lotus. You can see the outline, perhaps, of this lotus around here. Well, she's kneeling in it. And the lotus, of course, is about opening the heart to growth and enlightenment. And the lotus shares the energy of the starry violet pool of spirituality and the oneness of the cosmos. Now, I think that where this card is placed, opposite the moon, as it is there, I think that there are some painful memories that are being held in the mind and heart which need to be looked at, accepted, processed, and let go so you can heal. The Three of Swords encourages you to empty the sadness in your heart. The pain of losing something special is an individual experience that each person processes differently. Now, there are stages of grieving: denial, anger, guilt, vulnerability, loneliness, depression. But the ultimate goal is to take back your personal power and gain the strength back to begin to live your life at a renewed level. Understanding and wisdom come. As one door closes, another door opens. Now, the Three of Swords' silver lining is that it cleanses your mind and heart from the heaviness of life's pain. And let's face it, there is a lot of pain in life. It brings truth and clarity to situations, relationships, or issues that have been in denial. It changes the focus off old emotional wounds and defeating thoughts to the present. Cleansing is not an easy process, but the rewards are many. Cleansing gives you a sense of lightness and strength. The cleanse of the Three of Swords detoxes and rejuvenates spirit, so a new identity and perspective can emerge. Now, this Three of Swords can sometimes indicate a breakup in a romantic relationship, a friendship, or a business partnership. You may discover a disappointing and painful truth about somebody or about something. It indicates perhaps an issue involving three people or three situations that is causing distress. It can signal a betrayal and being let down, as well as sudden and unexpected change and loss. Well, you get the picture. But when the Three of Swords enters, I guess brace yourself for the odd tear here and there. It's nothing dramatic. Tears, of course, are a form of cleansing. And when you have cried your last tear, you begin the process of healing and cleansing. Well, shall we go to the diagonally opposite side of this line to this guy here, who is the Five of Cups. Fives can be unstable. They have an association with the planet of Mars to me. But in this image of the Five of Cups, a cloaked person stares down at the three spilled cups of loss, disappointment, and regret. Dark clouds, you see them in the background here. They hang overhead as rain teems down in the dark realm of despair. Rainbow butterflies, though, the seven chakras of transformation energy, emerge out of the two golden cups. See them going through there? And towards the rainbow and spirit. The green butterfly, the heart chakra in the center, symbolizes the healed and transformed heart. The rainbow symbolizes hope and the bridge between heaven and earth. But what is most important here is that the brilliant sun shines out with healing rays of new beginnings. Well, really, it seems to me that in the position that it is in, and the position, of course, is beneath the moon, next is King, and with that 10 opposite it, it seems to me that this energy is really offering you two choices. You can either focus on the three spilt cups of loss, sadness, and disappointment staying in the place of sorrow and regret, or shift your perspective from the painful past experiences to embrace the two full cups of light, stability, love, and new beginnings. The two full cups symbolize what is good and true in your life. They contain the magical elixir of spiritual and emotional strength. The three spilled cups symbolize what needs to be cleansed out of your life. Well, the challenge of the Five of Cups is to learn to trust your heart again. The heart is an incredible organ, both physically and energetically. It can transform pain and grief if you allow the emotions to be confronted and embraced by the heart. Tears release negative emotions, cleansing sadness, neutralizing it and releasing it, just as the message from this card here was. But remember this, that within the heart is a special garden of remembrance where it holds all experiences, honoring each one for the lessons and gifts which came from them. With each gift, your heart and life become fuller, bringing healing and shining the light into a brighter future. This Five of Cups gives you a chance to emotionally cleanse, to let go and transform past patterns that led to struggles and disappointment. Let go of the past. Regretting past actions will only throw you into a tailspin of repeating unsupportive emotional patterns. So let this Five of Cups help you now to shift your perspective from disappointment to that of peace. Well, we shall have a look at this gentleman in this Ten of Wands. What do you have to tell me, my friend? What do you have to say here? Well, in the image here, it looks to me as if there is a man who is spinning the wheel of life, starting a new cycle. At the center of the wheel is a yin and yang symbol. See this black or dark color and this red here. Yin, feminine principle, yang, masculine principle. The yin and yang symbol is a symbol of balancing the masculine and feminine energies. And the 8-pointed star that is here, that symbolizes as within, so without. Now the 2 wands, 1, 2, in the form of a cross here, at that center, they show the balance between spirit and matter. Now the 8 wands, which are behind him, they are charged with cosmic energy, ready to manifest what the driver of the wheel decides. His third eye, look at this here, his third eye begins to open to divine insight. Now the mystical bear standing behind him, that reminds the man of his personal power, strength, and his life force. And that is something that you must remember. The bear reminds you that when life's burdens get overwhelming and heavy on your shoulders, take a deep breath, quiet yourself, and reconnect with your true purpose. This is a time to rebalance and reclaim yourself. When you spin your wheel, what intentions and desires are you seeding? Pay attention to what really matters and how your intentions will unfold in the future collection. Now, behind him, there is this super moon which is rising up behind the man and the bear, bringing light to patterns that need to be shifted and let go. And stars around here, they shoot out of the center of the wheel, signifying all the possibilities you can create in your life. Now, it seems to me that, again, where this is placed and with the energetic interaction between these cards, that the lesson here is to recognize and address your outgrown karmic patterns. Now, it can bring the heavy burdens of life, but it can also bring the opportunity to connect with your soul self, finding your life's true path to freedom and liberation. You are the driver of your physical vehicle. What happens to you on this earth plane is, as for all of us, unpredictable. But if you keep your center, your heart, mind, and spirit in alignment, and keep them balanced with your daily activities, you will navigate through any challenge successfully. Listen to your call. Now, the suit of the wands is fiery masculine energy, and it needs to be contained and balanced to express itself in a productive fashion. And the number 10 represents completion and new beginnings. The 10 of Wands' mission here is to stop the sabotaging and defeating patterns, transform your shadow aspect, and empower yourself to the new next stage of growth. Now that takes us, I think, finally, doesn't it, to... Is finally, is it? Yep, to the King of Cups. Hello, King. Very splendid there, and good to see you looking very splendid. Well, the image here, the King, the waves behind him that you see there, they create his throne, symbolizing his ability to be centered with the ever-changing tides of life. Now, there are 3 flying fish that you see there. Gee, flying fish are interesting. I saw them off Fiji one time, out in the central South Pacific. Well, those flying fish represent your unconscious self moving through the veil of consciousness. Now, the king's cloak and his gown, with varying hues of blue colors, symbolize emotional balance, imagination, intuition, sensitivity, and serenity. Now, he has a sea turtle. Do you see this? Might see this green thing here? He has a sea turtle breastplate, and that represents the journey of the soul moving through the magical realms of imagination and intuition. Now, there are 3 heart-shaped chakras there. They symbolize love, ascending and opening each chakra as it opens to spirit. The King's Holy Grail is an ancient sacred vessel that brings connection with the divine into your natural world, manifesting inconceivable spiritual abundance. And the King's cup is decorated with a scallop shell, and that is the symbolic badge of the, well, if I'm not mistaken, that's the symbolic badge of the Camino de Santiago pilgrims. Well, what are they, you might say? Camino de Santiago in English means the way of my namesake, Saint James. And the way of Saint James is the path that leads to the shrine of the Apostle Saint James in the Cathedral of Santiago del Compostela in Galicia, which is in northwest Spain. Just one of those trivial... See, I'm very good at trivia nights. It's just one of those things I happen to pick up along the way. Now, there is also here 2 whales swimming. See here on his shield, 2 whales swimming in the sign of Pisces. Whale medicine assists in the reconnection and remembrance of the soul and destiny. And Pisces symbolizes spiritual compassion, intuition, oneness of life and creativity. And this whale Piscean shield here, that really represents great healing and transformation through love. And the dolphin here, of course, dives into the deep waters of cosmic love. Now, as another little bit of trivia that I picked up is that, in respect of dolphins, is that dolphins were once land animals. Millions of years ago, a dolphin or a predecessor of it slipped into the ocean and eventually transformed into the water mammals that we know today. But they symbolically represent the power of the breath, mana, life force, to release emotions and speak from the heart. Now, when this King of Cups enters, as he has done in the center here, he brings guidance, compassion, love, and healing. Your creative imagination and life force join, bringing opportunities and inspired visions to be manifest. The King of Cups signals a time when new doorways open. He brings success, achievement, or recognition. And I think you will get recognition from others, and you might enjoy being in the limelight, I think. You may enjoy being center of the stage. He indicates a time to listen to the stirrings in your heart. The gifts of courage and focus are now in place to assist in pursuing a vision you want to manifest. So pay attention and exercise your intuition, as it will guide you through opportunities and challenges. Emotional matters can become more intense as your heart opens. You may feel the need to seek guidance, or I very much get the sense here that you may be a counselor or a mentor for somebody else. The King of Cups brings the emotional maturity into any situation. Listen to your inner truth. It is a time to be authentic with yourself and those around you. Don't be misguided by others, and move from a place of love. And I think that the King's message is to bring understanding, kindness, compassion, gentleness, and listening to your heart before you act. Well, what a particularly great set of cards for you. Well done. That's the way it is this month. That, my dear friend, is your reading for June 2022. I love doing readings for you. Did I mention that before? I really do. I'm always excited to be doing it, and I'd love to see you. And if you're here for the first time, welcome, and I hope to see a lot more of you. Subscribers, thank you very much for being with me all this time. I really enjoy your company. Drop me a note in the comments, and we can see how we're all doing. But in the meantime, remember this, and remember it always, and it is that you are a legend, and I look forward to seeing you again next month. Until then, it's bye for now.